Hello, strangers. This video is devoted to a girl named Lion and our love story in Tibet, March 2023. I have written down our story in different parts. This is the first part, and I didn't have any commercials in the middle, so if you are watching this before sleep, please continue. Okay. The first time you show up in my world, you stay in there forever. I love your ash blonde short hair, sapphire jacket, white sneakers, and Louis Vuitton suitcase. I ask where you came from. What a coincidence. We came from the same province, just that the cities were different. You were quite aggressive at first. I was quite defensive on the other side. You tried to schedule a date for us, but I kept looking for excuses: my volunteer job, my writing career, my lack of money, all those. I had a crush on you at first sight. You don't really need to take those steps. I already fell for you. You waited me in the lunch just to offer me fresh and warm local milk tea. The milk had a goldy, fishy, salty, and overall strong local flavor. I drank a small cup and then gave up. You already had it with your uncle, so you knew the taste. That afternoon, the sunbeams lightened your hair. You were gleaming. Your deference killed me. The meaningful silence between us killed me. Your gazing killed me. I was defeated. You invited me to dinner again. I said yes this time. We sat on the same bench. Your uncle and another girl sat at the opposite side. Your uncle was a vice minister in a nationalized company. He was insane, flirting with that girl beside him and asking me to sleep in your room. He made it sound like you were the one who wanted me to do so. I didn't eat a lot. I was astounded. It began to snow in the middle of the meal, remember? You asked me like a child to walk you to the restroom. You were nearly 3 years younger than me. I did you the favor. I stood at the hallway. Outside it just snowed. The snowflakes were colorless, sticking to the French windows. I asked if you fancied sneaking out with me and marveling at the first snowing sea of my life. You said of course. We slid down the winding stairs. Already there were people sightseeing and taking pictures at the entrance of the restaurant. We mingled with them. You didn't seem too thrilled by the snow. I wasn't either. The cold penetrating my meager jacket, snowflakes melting on the skin of my covering. I shook like a leaf. We finished our tasteless dinner. You paid my bill without telling me. Your uncle spilled the beans later. He was a sassy philanderer, heading to a club with that girl beside him. He invited us too. I flatly rejected. You got in a cab with me back to the hostel. I took a shower in your room. You have got 2 beds. I asked if I could stay in your room tonight. Yes, you answered briskly. Do you understand what it meant? I thought we were gonna sleep with each other. To be candid, that was my first thought. I flushed downstairs to deal with my laundry. When I came back, you were wearing a sleeveless black top and a pair of shorts. You said you used to be a sprinter. I see. That's why you are not bothered by the cold or the high altitude here. We kind of fiddled with the heater, trying to settle a temperature which was comfortable for both of us. You seemed unnervingly taller in that hotel room. But you acted gingerly, avoiding physical contact with me. I believe our fingertips touched. You flinched back quickly, So did I. Then you went back dealing with your family business on your laptop. I stood aside and had a peek. It was a list of leases. Your family possessed a remarkable range of real estate. Already it saved you from tons of unnecessary life struggles. Your youth, your wealth, and your carefree attitude feel surreal to me. So I came to your city to see. Turns out it's pretty fancy too. I lost entirely. You asked when I fell asleep. I said 12 o'clock. All right, you said. Turning off your laptop and the lights and crawling in your bed. The air was too heated. I couldn't fall asleep no matter how. So I sat up and struck a conversation with you. When did you realize your sexual orientation? I asked. You hovered for a few minutes. 15, you said. I was turned down by the boy at that age, I said. Then I confided in you about the boys I used to have crushes on. Those silly chases and jabs never worked. I've been single ever since I was born and I got jaded. You listened carefully and quietly. What were you thinking about? Regardless, what I was trying to hint at you was that maybe we could get a little closer. Maybe you don't need to be so coy. Maybe you can just come to me. Today, we drove to a lake with your uncle. He was an experienced driver. You were a newbie while I couldn't drive at all. We wound our way up the mountain. The higher we got, the lower the temperature became. I was foolish enough to divulge my feelings for you to your uncle. I just needed someone to talk to. Did he spill them to you? I didn't know. I've been ducking eye contact in my baseball cap since getting in the car. You behaved normally. I guess it didn't bother you. But once when I looked up, our eyes met, you flashed away quickly, just like the last time you did with my finger. What were you trying to run away from? The sun was very harsh. I could barely open my eyes. You were wearing a pair of sunglasses. You said you had two pairs and that I should have asked you for the other one. Well, you love playing hard to get too. Slowly our positions just changed. We were climbing a hill to a Buddhist temple at the top. The oxygen was thin and I was gasping for air. You trotted and jumped, not weakened by the altitude at all. We were about 3,600 meters above sea level, no kidding. My breath was almost bleeding. We left the tour group, chatting in hushed tones. You talk about your family, your cold-blooded father, your overly obedient mother, and your younger siblings. You were like a little sister to me, yet an older sister to them. Amusing. I don't think you are mature enough. I don't think you understand my feelings either. It goes beyond romance. That's why we can talk about our families even though we are not friends to each other. Not yet. You feel dear to me. I feel dear to you. However, our distinct differences made it impossible for us to engage further. Um, I'm talking about personality, families, careers, values, belief systems, and many other elements. Nonetheless, knowing that it was impossible, I still indulge in this twisted path with you. Sometimes I jump for a memory that I know will linger in my mind for good. You're just reading my memories now. We had lunch by the lake. You granted my wishes like a lover. I said I was thirsty, so you dashed to our car to get my thermals. We strolled along the lake. There were many pebbles on the shore. I crouched down and looked at them closely and picked up one with a unique shape. It was the shape of a heart. I immediately showed off my catch to you. It was a prank. But you gave me an awkward smirk. I spurred back at you and tossed the stone into the water. It vanished in a second. You walk away and flick pebbles on the surface with other tourists, while I continue my search for another love stone. I was lucky then. This time, instead of tossing it, I hid it in my pocket. I was waiting for a chance to give it away. You got a business call from home. Your tone became extremely impatient and frigid, completely different from that sweet and harmless creature you had portrayed in front of me. I got away with a family from Hong Kong. I spoke Cantonese with them. We walked out onto the soft sand and looked at the lake shining in the sun and had some chit chat. When I turned my head, I noticed that you were looking at me. Again, you looked away immediately. You fell asleep on my shoulder on our way back. You were kind of heavy, but I didn't budge for fear of stirring you awake. I, I cherished that moment. I know you must be too worn out to be conscious of your behavior. Otherwise, you wouldn't have slumped down on me. When you woke up, you fell on the other side without giving me a glance. Why did you just shy away so quickly? I wasn't rejecting you anyway. But of course, you were careful about keeping our distance, weren't you? We drove back to our hotel around 8 o'clock in the evening. Everyone was hungry and exhausted and burned out. I went upstairs to take a shower. After that, I asked whether you fancy watching a movie with me. You said sure. I picked a romantic drama, which I soon regretted. The two main characters, a man and a woman, had an intense love scene at the very beginning. My shoulders stiffened as I gaped at the screen, realizing from the corner of my eye that you were staring at me. God, you didn't say anything, but just staring at me. I guess you were trying to understand that whether I was straight, right? And I didn't realize that. I thought we could watch romantic movies together like I do with my other female friends, but we couldn't. I stayed motionless, not daring to flash a peek at you. Slowly, I just said, the movie's boring, I'm tired, I want to go back to my room and sleep. You asked me to stay in your room for a little more while, but it was like 11 o'clock in the evening. Sure, I said, anyway. That day, I ended up in your room again.